Hey everyone, welcome back to Bucky's Customs. Hey, in this video we're going to take an STL file, a relief file, and we're going to bring it into Carveco. I'm going to show you that whole process, start to finish, making your Toolpaths and bringing it to our LongMill. I'm also going to use the laser to accent this project, so stay with us. Well, you know what time it is. It's time to thank our sponsor, Sienci Labs, the makers of the LongMill benchtop CNC, just like the one we use here in our shop. Go to their website, cnc.com, and check out this awesome machine. You'll be so happy you did. And while you're there, check out all the accessories this machine has to offer, like this 48-inch X-axis extension. You can go there now and pre-order it. So go to their website and check it out. Now let's get back to our video. Whenever we start a project, we always do some things that are the same, no matter what we build. And one is getting the correct material for the project, milling it to the right size, getting it all ready for what we ultimately will do with it, whether it's make a piece of furniture, carve it, or laser engrave it. I want to show you how I take an STL file, one that's already been created by another maker, utilize that, make it work with the LongMill. I'm going to use Carveco Maker, and we're going to go open that up. I'll show you how easy this is for an already made file. Now, the project that I'm making is 15 wide by 10 high. I've already got it set up. You can see it up here. But we're going to go through this process for you. Now, the first thing you need to do, if you have an STL, you can go up here and you can hit Relief, Import, and then Import 3D Model. And I have it saved in my STL files folder called The Last Supper, obviously. So that's what we're doing. So we'll select that and we'll bring it into Carveco. Now it's going to come in huge. I mean, very huge, 300 inches. So what we want to do is I want to change the axis or the start position to the bottom left. And we're going to go with changing the link. I don't want them to link. We're going to change the aspect ratio. I'm going to go 15 wide and we're going to do 10 high, and over here we're going to do 0.25, quarter of an inch. And right here you can see, right in here, it shows you the percentage that we've gone down from 100%. This is how big that file was. So now what we need to do is hit apply. And as you can see, if we move this over here, we can see that file is right there, and down here is where my model workspace is. So we need to change the positions. So we're going to make them all 0 because I have bottom left hand corner selected. Now this Z point is how high above our workspace or how far below our workspace we want this to be. I want it to be at our workspace, so I'm going to make that 0. I'll hit apply. And as you can see, it puts it right where we want it. Now if I hit that, we're looking straight down at it. I don't see any issues. We could kind of check, kind of turn it sideways here, and it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with this. And now what we need to do is we need to paste it down, and that's what I just did here. I hit paste, so we can cancel that. It's in our model. So there's really nothing that has to be done because someone else has already created and done all this beautiful work. So we're going to create Toolpaths, and I'm going to go into the Toolpaths, and we're going to go to Reliefs, create a machine relief, which is right there. We're going to make sure that the whole relief is what we want to select. I'm going to do my finishing as a ball nose 16th inch. And we're going to select that. My roughing, I used a 1/4 inch ball nose to do my roughing. I just think a ball nose kind of makes a smoother, you know, allows it to go a little in places where maybe the flat ML couldn't go. So I just prefer to use a ball nose over a flat. So we're going to select that for our roughing tool. Now, there's a couple things you need to decide. If your machine, hopefully you have a LongMill, Gerbil will not accept tool change according to Carveco. The post processor Gerbil will not accept the tool change. So what we need to do is we need to go into this with 2 different toolpaths, but we can create them both at once. So let's work on the finishing. Now, finishing is last. So that tool number, if you can do a tool change, that needs to be number 2. And I'm gonna change the step over, I'm gonna change it to 70. Step down still good, 0.06 is fine. Feed rate 100, I believe that's fine. With that tiny little step over 100, I could probably go a lot faster, but I am using pine, so I want to go a little bit slower. We're going to use raster, which means back and forth, back and forth. We're going to cut in both directions. So now let's go to the roughing options and take a look at our ball nose. Now our ball nose is the same thing. We can do our step over at 0.03. That's not an issue. Our step down can be 1/4 inch if we wanted to. But you know what? I think I'm going to change this to 0.2 for a step down. And I'm gonna do that for a reason, because pine is very soft and you know it can tear out. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. I have a clear piece of wood, no knots, so we should be fine, but I'm playing on the cautionary side there. So we're just gonna step it back to 0.2 and we'll take it'll take a finishing pass, you know, to get closer, and I think the ball end is going to be a big help for that. I would like to go down here and define the material. We are using 1 inch of material, so that is all we need to do there, and we need to name this. So we're just going to call this Last Supper. We don't really need to name it. We don't want to, but I choose to name it. So what it's going to do is it's going to create both these toolpaths. Okay, we're going to calculate this. And it's probably going to take a bit because there's a lot to this. There we go. We got our toolpaths created. I'm going to do a simulate. You know, it took some of the detail away looking straight on it, but you could see there's some pretty good detail here. So let's go down here and save the toolpath. Now I told you there's going to be 2 toolpaths. So the LongMill and my machine will not do a tool change. So I'm gonna have to do 2 different tool paths, one for the roughing and one for the finishing. So we're gonna take the Last Supper finishing and move that to the left. We're gonna call this roughing, and and USG. Yep. Okay, so that's done. So now we want to take this one, move it over, take the finishing, move it over here, and we're going to call this finishing. And we'll save that. So we're all set. Good to go. We can save this file. So that does about it for that. Next step would be opening these Toolpaths in gSender and getting started. Now, I didn't do a gSender tutorial on this. I thought that video might get a little bit too long and lose some interest, but I do have other videos out there that you've seen where I do show how to use gSender, and it's really no different. Now, I did want to mention that I did fasten this material down with blue painter's tape and hot glue, and I'm really liking this hot glue method. It's been working out really well for me, and after a 6-hour carve in that machine, it did not move at all, so I was very happy with it. Now, I also did not do a tutorial in this video on the touch probe. If you would like to see a tutorial on the touch probe, I did do a video on that, and you can go ahead and check that out. I'll put a link in the screen here up above, so you can just check that video out. But here we are, we're getting started with the roughing passes, and hopefully you won't fall asleep during this. Now here you can see I switched over to the 16th inch ball nose, and I'll tell you what, I really like this bit. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Now what I also did was I took this same relief file and I turned it into a PNG file, which is a picture file, and I brought it into Lightburn and I sized it to match. It really came out well with the accents, so I'm very happy with this. Gave it an antique kind of look. So, well, that's about it on the carving part of it. I say this at the end of all my projects, just about. I really enjoy using this LongMill. This machine, bar none, greatest thing I've ever done for my shop. Yes, I used a really fine bit, and yes, it took 3 or 4 hours to carve, but it came out really good. At least I think it did anyway. I mean, you be the judge. There was some detail in this that I didn't even know I had when I looked at the STL file in Carveco. You know, there's wallpaper detail in this. There's ceiling detail in this that really stands out. You know, you turn it a little bit and you look at it. You can definitely see all that. The only thing I'm a little disappointed in is the face detail. There's not a lot of face detail, but you know, you get the gist of what this is. And I'm going to proudly display this in my home. This one's for me, and it's been something I wanted to do for a very long time. So, hey, I really hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope you got something out of the little bit of a tutorial that I did do. I like to share stuff with you that you can learn from, maybe save you a step here and there. But by all means, don't forget to go to the link below, and you can download Carveco file. I'll put all that down there, and you can give this a try on your own. So, hey, if you like this video, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. It really helps us put content out. I really appreciate everyone watching. Thank you so much. Be safe out there.